You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Very excited to get this man on. I don't know, this could go anywhere at the moment. Is he up on the screens? There he is, Jimmy Jefferies. How are you, buddy?
G'day, Fitzy. G'day, Wippa.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good, lads. How are you?
Is this the room in the house that's only Jim's allowed into and no family members?
I have a baby at home, so I don't do things at home. You know,
Okay.
even this is my assistant's room, and it makes me look like a frat boy. And I got all. He's into the Grateful Dead. I got these Grateful Dead posters. I've got a bed that. I'm a successful comedian enough. This is the bed I've chosen.
How old's your bub, mate?
Well, Jack here, 28.
But the one,
27.
The other one that you own.
My baby turned 1 yesterday.
Oh, congrats, mate.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we had a 1-year-old birthday party, and I tell you what, I've had a couple of these because my other son, you know, each time I have a 1-year-old birthday party, people get drunk. They get so smashed at the parties because
it's not for the kids. It's not really for the child. It's for the parents.
he went to bed at 7, as he does, and then there's just a house full of adults, and so you celebrate the child. Everyone gets. Really?
Do you know where I went wrong, Jim Jefferies? I did this for Ted, our little man, for his first birthday party, but I had it at a park. And the party, where I went wrong, the party started at 10 a.m. till about midday, and I oversupplied with so much grog, and I was the only one ripping in. No one else drank because it was so early in the day, but I just assumed because I'd heard that first birthdays were all about the parents.
My son's first birthday, we had a bouncy castle for other kids that were showing up, and then they all left, and a smallish type of orgy broke out when all the adults were left.
Are you serious?
It was the most risque party I've ever been to.
My
I
God.
go outside and I went, why is the bouncy castle going up and down a bit? When you're a parent of small children, you look at each other like this. We have 2-hour window of opportunity.
Oh, my God.
The kid's not here. Let's get debauched.
Let's
and
load
that's
up.
what happened. That's what happened is like all the kids are gone, everyone's in bed. All right, check, naked. I hope they sterilised the bloody thing before they sent it to the next party. It was only a rental.
Jim, can I ask you, because how do people over in America take Australians? Because, I mean, we go over there and they seem to laugh at us with our accents and that. You went over there and took your whole career over there, which would have been very, very tough to prove yourself. Did it take a while to do that?
As for stand-up comedy, not a lot of Australian stand-ups had actually given America a shot. No. So I was 13, 14 years ago, I remember feeling like a novelty act.
Yep.
And some of the American comics would go, oh, it's just the accent and that he says the C word all the time. That's the only reason anyone laughs at him. It's the accent and the C word. And I was always offended by that because I sold lots of tickets in Australia and all you have the same accent as me. So it can't be. It can't just be the accent. I must have told a couple of good gags in me day.
There must be some one-liners in there.
The other one as well, Jim, is the social issues that you've touched on that have actually really hit a nerve over there. So, I mean, do you have pressure? This is the other question I want to ask you. As a comedian, you're a very funny man. You can write a great one-liner. But the thing is, when you bring up, when the gun laws went crazy, do you feel like you have to bring in social issues with your act all the time or no?
Well, the gun control thing, it was the fact that the gun laws didn't go crazy, that there were none. Yeah. But that actually happened because, so he's a friend of mine, but John Ratzenberg, who played Cliff Clavin on Cheers.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Legend. And he was the mailman on Cheers. So he played the dad in my sitcom Legit, right? And I was with him when one of the bigger massacres happened. I don't want to mention which one and go over that again. But I was sitting next to him and I was like, oh, this is terrible. And he turned to me and went, hey, Jimmy, none of this would have happened if those teachers had guns. And I was like, oh. No. And me and him argued for about 3 or 4 days about guns. And at the end of it, the whole routine was ready to go.
Oh, it was as simple as that. As simple as that.
Yeah, you just need the mailman from Cheers to help you out.
Hey, the outrageous true story of Milky Moore. Now, you're narrating this. It's available on Audible now. Give us the story behind this.
This sounds awesome.
Okay, so what happened was Milky Moore, and his real name's Luke, and they called him Milky because he looked like the Milky Bar Kid, and that was his nickname as a kid. And he's from Goulburn. He goes to these ATM and gets some money out from his overdraft. And then he chanced it and tried to ask for more money, and it just kept on coming out. And it kept on coming out. Wow. It kept on coming out months and then years, and it kept on coming out. and he took from the bank over $2 million, and he blew it on strippers and hookers and an Aston Martin, and moved up to the Gold Coast where you can do that and it doesn't look suspicious. Went and studied law, and then he got himself off. It was the bank's fault. Now there's a lot of story that happens in between there, but it's a pretty fascinating tale. I actually interviewed the lad. Like when I did the audio book, I just was narrating off a script, and then we did an interview when I was on tour in Australia. And if you meet the guy, he's a little skeevy, sort of bogany sort of fella.
That's what we love.
Very charming, down to earth bloke. And he's just like, I just went to get the money, and then I thought, I'll get a bit more money, and then it just kept going, and then in for a penny, in for a pound, and But funnily enough, 2 or 3 years earlier, I got a phone call to see if I wanted to write a movie that was set in Australia, and this was the movie. I took a couple of meetings with Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, right.
And he was going to play Milky, so I was already pretty well versed in this guy's story before this even happened. Now, I don't know whether Liam didn't like me or whatever, but that movie, I haven't written it. But,
is it going ahead? Do you know any other updates?
I have not heard anything since then, but I met at 3 times I met with him. I met at his manager's house and in an office, all that type of stuff. And he seemed pretty keen on doing it. So it's a movie I'd like to see. So I don't know whether that'll go ahead, maybe with a different actor or something. But
all right, it's out now on Audible. We love you, Jim Jefferies. It's you're in LA.
I'm in no hurry.
You want to stick around? No, you want to let's keep going. You want to finish off the show, Jim?
I mean, what else? You were in Sydney not long ago. What else is happening in the world of Jim Jefferies?
We did a whole big tour of Australia. I brought my son along, which I'll tell you the big difference between America and Australia. This is the only difference. But it's so I'm trying to teach my son how to have, because he's grown up a rich kid, right? I want to put him in economy on the plane. When you walk in the front of the plane and there's a 4-year-old reclined in a flatbed, and you're there with a neck pillow around you, just hating that little bastard. Right? So I want to teach him responsibility, and so I thought, what I'll do is, he's 9 now. I thought I'll teach him the value of $1.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I made him the bartender backstage at all my gigs. Right. He had to do that type of stuff, and he put out a little tip jar because he's American and he thinks that's how the world works. Right. You're paying all the time. Right. and he walked up to people. Do you want a beer? You want a beer? Would you like a vodka and something? Would you like a beer? He was a very proactive bartender.
Yeah, I like
right?
that.
Yeah.
So you do that. Anyway, I come back to America and I think, that was good. So I set him up as the bartender backstage of America. So I might be getting sued for having child labour at the back of a bar dealing with alcohol. I'm negotiating a bit of a problem here at the moment for doing that.
4-year-old kid who's a bartender.
Yeah, the Australians didn't give a
No,
we had the owner of the venue going, "I'll have a vodka and Coke, please."
How good is that? How good is that?
Actually, Jim, we're speaking to another Jim tomorrow. I'm very excited about this, but Jimmy Carr, you're very good mates with Jimmy Carr. Can't believe how many shows that guy has done to how many people, Jim. It's been unbelievable.
His shows, I believe they have about 300 jokes in every show.
Is that right?
Which I find, yeah. There's one line is bang, 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 bang. He's a machine, he is, right? And then I think about my shows, and everyone goes, "I love your long stories," right? I have about 4 jokes in every bloody show. I'm just labouring on about rubbish, and then Jimmy's just, "Oh, here's another joke. Here's another joke." He holds a clipboard up there. I remember he was doing a roast battle out here, and he walked up his clipboard, and Jimmy Kimmel was one of the judges, and Jimmy Kimmel was being all American. He goes, I don't want to say anything, Jimmy, but you are holding a clipboard, and that does make it look like you're reading your jokes. And Jimmy Carr was like, "That's because I am." You know what I mean?
He doesn't care.
300 of them.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Who are you to tell me?
Jimmy Carr is quite close to Russell Crowe as well. Have you met Rusty over the years? You got a relationship with the big fella?
me and Russell are good friends. I don't have a bad word to say about Russell Crowe, man. Russell Crowe is a real decent, genuine, generous human being.
He's very generous, isn't he?
I have been to dinner with Jimmy and Russell. We're all friends together. Yeah, that's a crew. Isn't that a crew you want to hang out with?
How did the night go? Because, I mean, Fitzy and I always get nervous when we know that there's a drink on with Russell. It's like, oh, my God, how am I going to get through this?
Well, Ed Sheeran told us that the last time he drank with Russell, he woke up the next day, he had a gig on the next night, and he was so hungover. And Russell had this punch recipe, Jim, and next time we saw Ed Sheeran, we got the punch recipe off Russell, and we put it onto one of the cocktail shakers. It was one of the greatest presents he's ever received in his life, he said. But he said every time you're with Russell, you feel it the next day.
I've had some heavy nights of drinking. I haven't had a drink in 18 months. And look, I'm a pothead now. Yep. Weed's legal in this country. I'm stoned most days. And so I gave up the alcohol. Yep. But one of my last nights of drinking, my second last night of drinking, was I got drunk at Russell Crowe's place. And Seth MacFarlane was there, and he started playing piano. And I thought I'd stand up and sing one of the songs from The Little Mermaid. And I thought, I've probably hit my bottom.
I reckon I'll get on the edibles from here on in.
That is the peak for me, Jim. That's not the bottom.
No, we love the man. He's brilliant, isn't he? Oh, that's outstanding.
Oh, Jim, you are
Jim Jefferies, you're a superstar.
We love you, mate. Thank you very much for coming on the show, mate, and we can't wait to see you back in Australia soon.
Take care.
Thanks, lads.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast.